Come on, come on, turn on the thing.
Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Let me welcome you to this another episode of the Saudichress show. And I want to welcome all my first time viewers and also the returning viewers to this show. Of course, it's a Wednesday night and customary, even though we haven't had a show for a few weeks ago. But tonight we look towards, the whole aspect of education that was scheduled for Wednesdays. And I want to say welcome again to you all. I want to say to you tonight will be a very interesting show, one that I'm sure that many persons who find themselves out of YouTube or on this channel may very well regret the live interaction with our guests. On set right now, ladies and gentlemen, we have seven distinguished persons who are vying for the, or should I say, the candidate elect for the 24-25 JTA candidacy or presidency. And of course, I must say, tonight we also have our lovely producer, Rhea, or should I say, Mrs. Rhea Richard Spirit. And of course, she's here with me. Mrs. Spirit, welcome. You are my co-host and producer tonight. Of course, the person herself will give you a short introduction. But before we go, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, you can use the chat, ensure that you participate, and later on we'll introduce just maybe for a few calls or a few text messages via our WhatsApp line. All right. So, people, just remember once you come in, if you want to participate, ensure that you subscribe. That's the only way you'll be able to use the chat. All right. Share and like the content as well. Ladies and gentlemen, again, good night to my panelists. And here we are. I will turn over at this time for the short introduction to our producer for the night, Mrs. Rhea Richards Powell. Sorry, not Powell, but Peart. I don't know where I get that Powell from, but my apology, Mrs. Peart. And so I'll ask her before she introduces everyone else, just to give a short introduction of herself and get the ball rolling. Mrs. Richard Spirit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saudichress. Um, I must say thanks to those who are online for tuning in to hear from our seven president-elect representatives for 2024-2025. I will start off by saying that I'm a teacher at Jonathan Grant High School. And currently I am the St. Catherine Teachers Association president. And it is out of my presidency that I have decided that we all need to hear from the seven candidates. And we hope that we'll have a wonderful evening this evening. And we'll hear so much that at the end of this show that we will hear all that we need to hear, as much as then that will help us to make our decisions going forward. I also want to welcome my parish executive members who are online, and I'm sure all the candidates here would have their supporters right across Jamaica to participate, produce insightful comments, ask questions as they may like, and that we will hear the answers that we'd love to hear. So without further ado, and thank you, Mr. Saudichress.
You're welcome.
Who should I give the name? But most persons would know the name already. But for here, we'll keep him as Mr. The Saudichress. Thank you for having us and for making this evening possible. We're really grateful for this opportunity. And of course, for this show, I've become the producer. Can you imagine? Without even knowing. Thank you for the title, of course. All
Of
right,
course.
so I'd want to start us off with the same order in the alphabetical order where each candidate will be given 3 minutes to present their opening statement. So I'll do the introduction for each candidate if I have them, and then they will speak. So I will go with I did receive for Miss Allen, Dorian Allen, her introduction. So I will go ahead and read. So, Miss Dorian Allen Rainford is a classroom teacher and staff representative on the board at the Convent of Mercy Academy. She has been a classroom teacher for over 25 years and a teacher advocate for over 20 years. She's a minister of religion and worships at the Bethel United Church of Jesus Christ Apostolic. She has been a member of the Jamaica Teachers Association for over 20 years and has served in various capacities, including contact teacher, district association president, parish president, member of general council, and central executive, and a member of various committees at different levels of the association. Mrs. Allen Rainford has a Master of Science degree in Human Resource Development and a Bachelor of Science with honors degree in Pure and Applied Chemistry, a Diploma in Education, Diploma in Financial Management and Accounting, graduate of the National College for Educational Leadership (NCEL), and a certificate in Industrial Relations Training. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mrs. Allen Rainford, who is married and has two wonderful children. I now hand over to Mrs. Allen Rainford. Thank you.
This is like she's not on set.
She's not here? I thought I saw her. All right, so we will not waste any time,
She's
right?
here already.
Let's go over to, we have Miss Georgia Green. So, Miss Georgia Green is a vice principal and she has made great effort this evening to be with us because her school is having a gospel concert and she made the time to find a quiet space so that she can be with us this evening. So, Miss Green, you may go ahead. The time is now yours to do your introduction in 3 minutes.
So you can open your camera and your mic, Mrs. Green. Thank you.
Is it that she's not hearing us? Miss Green? All right, if she's not hearing us, we will move on to.
Go
I
ahead,
will,
Mrs.
yes, I am. I'm making sure that I go in the order that I have them. I think. Okay, I will go with Miss Suzette Baker Tolo. Mrs. Tolo, you may go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry, Miss Green, you're here. Are you hearing us, Miss Green? She's not hearing us, it seems. So until she's hearing us, you may go ahead, Mrs. Baker Tolo. We're not hearing you.
Wow. Good
Go-
evening, colleagues all
Good
on
evening.
this show, and we'll be listening on YouTube or Facebook. It is my pleasure to be on this platform. I you may see me in my colors. Today we had the babies having their sports day. So it was a long, long day for me. Nonetheless, I am one of the candidates vying for president elect for the Jamaica Teachers Association. I am a wife of one husband, a mother of three, and I know what it is to juggle in order to balance the budget that I have, because I know that when it comes on to the our wages, it is not enough to cover everything. And so I am presenting myself to you as one that has been there, done that, though I am now a principal of Fogo Road Infant School, but I would have taught at the secondary level, Kempsey High School, at the junior high level, at Hayes Primary and Junior High, at the primary level, Yorktown Primary School, and now the Lord has seen it fit to place me at the foundation, at the early childhood, where I can help in ensuring that the right foundation is laid for my esteemed colleagues to build on. I want to put to you that it is time for Jamaica Teachers Association to have someone who is giving herself in order to continue volunteering in impacting the holistic life of our colleagues. I am not in this to gain something for myself. I am in this to continue to give at a higher level. What is it that I bring to the table? I would have run 2022, 2023, and my 12-point supplemented manifesto is out there for everyone to see. It has been so good that two of them has already been accomplished. One being paternity leave, which our male colleagues are now enjoying, and another was for caregivers remuneration to be improved, and that too has been addressed as it relates to agitating for teachers to get 100% of the private sector. That has been on it as well as having had three children at tertiary level at the same time and having to pay tuition and go into for-part payment. I am an educator, right? And I have to go in and make those arrangements. I am saying to you, I am presenting myself, though a principal, not because I do not know what it is to be a teacher, but I have been there. I have done that. I know what it is like. And so I say to you, come June 2024, vote for Suzette Baker Tulloh. Vote for one who is honest, who live, uh, who is who govern in integrity, and who believe that everybody should be treated as how they deserve. So vote for honesty, vote for integrity, vote for equity, and most importantly, I am governed by the mantra that whatever I find my hands to do, I
Um,
must do it with all my might because God will be the judge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Rhea, you are muted. Can you unmute your mic? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for reminding me. Thank you, Mrs. Baker Tola, for that strong introduction of yourself and your mandate and what you're about. And we do hope to hear way more from you throughout the rest of the program. So now I'll move on to Mr. Malava to do his introduction. Let me bring it up. Allow me some time to bring that up. Okay. So, Matt Malava is a student of leadership who is known to be transformational. He's as bold as he is audacious. In addition, he's very strategic, forward thinking, and analytical. He's also an astute researcher and erudite educator. He can articulate the issues from an informed position and commands the respect of the stakeholders of education. He is also an avid contributor of articles on educational transformation and teacher advocacy to the printed media. He strongly believes in teacher advocacy and improved remuneration for teachers as a means through which to achieve educational transformation. He is also a strong advocate for social justice and the application of critical theory in educational leadership. He has 15 plus years as a classroom teacher, 7 and more years as a school principal, PhD candidate in educational leadership and management, masters at teaching with MAT, volunteer for various community initiatives, immediate past chairman, JTA Secondary Committee, past chairman, JTA's General Council and Senex, or Central Executive, current member of JTA St. Thomas Parish Association, current member of JTA St. Thomas Secondary Committee, and also current chairman of St. Thomas, and that part is missing. I am so sorry. But ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, my friends, I now hand over to you, Mr. Mark Malava, to do his presentation in 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ria. Good evening to everyone on the platform. Let me make special good evening to my fellow candidates. Um, it is now we are now at the point in time where elections are now due, and it's important to put it within a particular context. Over the years, as teachers, we have endured wage freeze. We have made tremendous sacrifices. And I just want to put it in a particular light because we have endured actually 4 years of wage freeze. And during that period, aggregate inflation was hovering somewhere around 30%. Subsequent to that, we endured more than 4 years of single-digit increases in our salary. And during that period, aggregate inflation was somewhere around 17, 18%. Collectively, when you look at it, aggregate inflation increased over that period by somewhere close to 50%, if not more than 50%. It means therefore that our salaries declined by more than 50%. In recent times, we also went through a wage reclassification, and we have sacrificed so much. We have given up, for example, on incremental increases in our salary, and this is against the backdrop that years of service is actually a premium within education. We have surrendered or we have squandered things, for example, such as, let me put it another way. Remote inducement allowance has also been grandfathered. On top of that, our master's allowance have been slashed. This is the lot that we are we basically have to treat with as teachers. On top of that, colleagues, one of the things that you also have to recognize that we are going into a new wage negotiations very soon. Within that period, it demands leadership. It demands a leadership that is not in the status quo's back pocket. It demands a leadership that is keen in terms of being very strategic in terms of what they are doing. It demands leadership, colleagues, that understands the educational terrain and know how to navigate it. It demands leadership that is transparent and leadership that can articulate the issues in the public domain. I am sharing with you my 27-point my 27-point manifesto, and it is centered around 6 key areas: salaries and conditions of services, early childhood and primary education, professional support and development, tertiary education, school funding and support, and special needs and intervention. Those are the 6 critical areas that I believe that if we implement these things, it will go a far way in the transformation of the education system and improving the lot of our teachers. I look forward to this debate, and I look forward to sharing my views. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malava, for sharing that with us. I hope our colleagues here who can vote are listening and listening. That's two down. We have five more to go, and I'll now move on to Mr. McNamee, who did send his profile. So let me go ahead and do his introduction. Mr. McNamee is a native of the parish of St. Thomas, where he attained primary education at the Johnson Mountain Primary School and then moved on to the St. Thomas Technical High School, where he completed his secondary education. He accepted the Lord as his personal savior at the tender age of 12, fresh out of high school. He was employed as pre-trained teacher at the Johnson Mountain Primary School. His educational pursuits saw him pursuing a 3-year diploma program in primary education at Michael Teachers College, read for a bachelor's degree in primary education, obtaining honors. He also completed a postgraduate diploma in school management at the Michael University College and a master's in education, majoring in curriculum development at the University of the West Indies. He presently serves as principal of the Broadleaf Primary and Infant School and serve as the PRO for QEC 44. He has served the JTA as DA president twice, parish president, and on numerous committees, including finance, salaries and conditions of service, and professional advancement and teacher welfare committees. An advocate for volunteerism, he has served on numerous committees in the Jamaica 4 H Club Leaders Association, both at the local and national levels. He received awards at the parish and national levels. He presently serves as first vice president of the Decarteret College PTA, chairman of the Manchester 4-H Advisory Council, and executive member of the Island Advisory Council. He also serves as a member of the Manchester Peace Coalition and board member of the Windsor Lodge Special School. At the Comfort Church, he serves as director of the Men's Ministries, chair of the Education Committee, and Public Relations Committee member at the Comfort Church of God of Prophecy, where he is an ordained minister. Thank you for listening, colleagues. And now hand over the 3 minutes allotted time to Mr. McNamee. You may go ahead, Mr. McNamee.
Thank you, Rhea.
You're welcome.
Good evening, all colleagues, fellow contenders, hosts, and our viewers. Good evening. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this afternoon. After listening to such a long introduction, I think my 3 minutes has expired. But I just like to say that my experience giving service to the JTA at all levels has prepared me for a time as this, when unionism is eroding and its true value is being really misinterpreted. I would have served at all levels of the education system, from the early childhood up to the tertiary level, and I would have served as teacher and administrator at all levels of the education system. So my experience around the education system is unquestionable. My experience also volunteering in different organizations, would have prepared me to be to volunteer at a time like this. My experience on the conference floor at General Council, and especially the conference floor, defending the rights of teachers, um, providing solutions to issues to the Minister of Education, and questioning matters that need to be questioned, has prepared me for a time as this, when the JTA needs proactive leadership. We the face of education is changing. Of course, we need proactive leadership that will think ahead, move ahead, come up with solutions to our issues. We cannot continue to be confrontational without providing solutions, because finding fault is easy. Anybody can find a fault, but it takes brains to find solutions. And solutions is what I'm about. I am solution oriented, bringing solutions to the ministry in order to retain our teachers in this country. What is gone is gone. If we continue to mope on what is gone, then we are going to be in trouble. What we need to do as a teachers union is to come up with innovative, creative ideas to replace those that have been taken away from us. For example, our master's increment. As a person with a master's degree who has studied and has worked hard for it and has paid a lot of money, I do not believe that I should be receiving just a few increments. It's on my manifesto. I believe it is opportune time for the government to create a master's scale. When we entered the profession with a diploma, we had a bachelor's scale, which showed a marked difference and encouraged people to do their bachelor's degree. So I believe it's opportune time that we approach the government with such a solution. We do not need to go back to the increment where we just receive a few dollars for pursuing a master's degree. So it's high time, I think, that we need to get some new ideas into the market, some 21st century ideas into the market, because education, of course, is changing and we have to change with it. We will change remuneration, we will change our working conditions, we will change the way even we operate, the way we think about education has to change. And I believe that I possess such qualities at this time to lead the JTA, to lead the teachers of Jamaica in this paradigm. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction, Mr. McNamee. We really appreciate it. So I'll now quickly move on to Mr. O'Keefe Saunders. And Mr. O'Keefe Saunders is a teacher at the Donald Quarry High School, and he teaches social studies and history. I'll now hand over the time to Mr. O'Keefe Saunders. 3 minutes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
I'm a teacher at the Donald Quarry High School. I studied at GC Foster College. I specialized in physical education and sports. I'm a teacher's advocate. And during the compensation package, you can see a lot of videos go viral with me defending the teachers of Jamaica. No, it doesn't matter what Pattison report and that report and the well-being of the teachers doesn't take care of. It don't make sense. I am vying for the position of president for the Jamaica Teachers Association. My main aim is for benefits for teachers. It doesn't make sense you come and tell teachers that you're going to get 16, 17, 30% or what government not going to give it to you. Benefits, because when you negotiate for benefits, that is so it's help you, because remember, we have a high inflation in Jamaica. And we can see that as soon as we get our pay, inflation eat it up. But when we have benefits, for example, motor vehicle concession, subsidized school canteens for teachers, proper health for teachers, housing for teachers, transportation for teachers, and see to it that teachers work into a comfortable environment. The hypocrisy, the cronyism, and all of these things, nepotism, all of these things. That is why, as a classroom teacher, who feels it knows it. And I am in this profession for over 25 years, from September 1995 until now. I'm in this profession. And from I am in this profession, teachers always on the ground picking up corn like fowls. And it's time now for us as teachers to elevate ourselves. And that's why I vie for the office for president of the JTA, to defend the teachers of Jamaica. And I want the JTA to have, I'm going to develop back the status quo for the JTA. I am a transformational leader. And I think that the JT needs some transformational changes that teachers start to have back confidence into the Jamaica Teachers Association. So I am the man with the plan. And I'm telling you, colleagues, teachers, when you vote for O'Keefe Saunders, this plan is going to come through because I'm a man of justice. I'm a Sam Sharp leader. I'm a Nelson Mandela leader. And I'm also a Fidel Castro leader, a very strong leader. I believe in people. I believe in people. And I think that people's life must be steady. It's not just one set up in the sky flying like eagles and another set on the ground picking up corn like fowls. When you put me there as your president, I am going to put out the plan because I am the man with the plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saunders. Of course, we all have to have a plan. And you're saying you're the man with the plan. We love the sound of that. But without further ado, we will just move on now to Mr. Jermaine N. Williams. The N must be called, I think, because it is there, you know. As soon as you're through, we will go right back to Dorian Rainford and Miss Georgia Green. So let me go now with Mr. Jermaine Williams. Mr. Williams is a senior teacher at Manning's School, Westmoreland. He lives by the mantra service, leadership, and excellence. His JTA involvement shows that he served 3 times as the parish president and as SAV District Association president. Nationally, he has served as general counsel, on general counsel for 12 years, Senex 4 times, and delegate to annual conference for 12 years. He has also served on several national committees over the years and chairman for Education and Research Committee in 2021-2022. His other affiliations would be participative in the JCDC Westmoreland. He's a Kiwanian. He's also he's affiliated also to the Westmoreland Curry Festival. Is he a good cook? Somebody need to tell us. He's also a justice of the peace and a member of the lay magistrate, and he has worked in the electoral office of Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, I present to you Mr. Jermaine N. Williams. You may go ahead for your 3 minutes, Mr. Williams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhea, and good evening to all my fellow candidates. My journey started in the year 2011 when I became contact teacher at Manning School. And what they say, the rest is history. I had no interest. The contact teacher would have migrated and would have indicated to me that she thought I would have been the best fit. And I must say, since I started, I became active in the parish association. I became the public relations officer for the parish of Westmoreland. The following year, I became president-elect for the parish of Westmoreland, then president. And that's where my journey started out in the Jamaica Teachers Association. I have served at every level of the JTA. And as was mentioned, as District Association President, as Parish President, which I'm currently the Parish President for Westmoreland. Now, my experience over the years would have prepared me to become a candidate in this race. And I must say, initially when I started, I just wanted to serve. Because if you notice, my mantra said service, leadership, excellence. That's all I know how to do. And that is to serve in whatever capacity that I'm placed in. But having served in the association at the different levels, I recognize that I can be of higher service. And so my colleagues, and I thought to myself that, I think I'm going to be offering myself. They have been on my, they've been encouraging me over the years. And I decided that I'm going to be taking up the mantle this year to serve. Now, why is it? Why is Jermaine Williams the person that teachers should be voting for? Because I come with experience. I understand the structure of the Jamaica Teachers Association because that's extremely important. And I must place on record that as a president, I cannot do it alone. You must have a competent team behind you, and you must have the support of teachers across Jamaica. And so at this time, I offer myself as a president-elect candidate for the Jamaica Teachers Association because I'm hardworking, because I'm committed, because I'm loyal, because I've gone through the trenches of the Jamaica Teachers Association, whether it is to activate a district association, a parish that may be struggling, the executive, etc. And so I understand. And that's why my tagline, leading with passion, guided by experience. Team Substance, and that's Team Jermaine Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jermaine N. Williams, the man from the West. Okay, we'll now move on and we go right back to Miss Dorian Rainford. I would have read her introductory profile already, so I'll allow her to go ahead and speak to us for the next 3 minutes. Thank you, Miss Rainford.
Good night, everyone, fellow colleagues, moderator, of course, the chairman of the show. I just want to express good night to everyone who has joined.
Good night.
Tonight. I'm Dorian Allen Rainford, and I'm a teacher at the Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha, where I'm a member of staff who serves on the school board. I have been a teacher for over 25 years. And of those 25 years, I have been a teacher advocate for some 20 years. I have offered myself to serve my colleagues, not only because I am passionate about advocacy, but the fact that I have the competences in the various areas, not only read the qualifications, but also the core competences and the requisite skills, which allow me to be the best candidate to lead and to represent my educators, all categories of educators at this time, in this juncture, and at this dispensation. Who am I? As you have already heard, I have a Master's of Science degree in Human Resource Development, also a degree in Pure and Applied Science. I have my diploma in education. I also have competencies in terms of diploma in financial accounting and management. And I've also been trained in industrial relations. Now, this is a time when the teachers they need persons, they need somebody who is strong, who knows their pain, who understands their pain, and who knows how to represent them at the highest level. Now, this is a time when our teachers who are migrating, my vision for this association and for the teachers is that they will be empowered and they will be paid their worth and their value to stem and to halt the migration problem that is taking place, where we have the best and our brightest minds who are in fact leaving the shores of Jamaica, not because they don't love their country, but because they are not paid their worth and their value, and so they cannot survive on the salaries that they are now getting. And so tonight, colleagues, as I present myself to you, I say to you that all categories of teachers need to be empowered and to be paid their worth and their value. And so my mission is that in empowering the teachers, I'm going to use best practices of accountability and governance, best practices of collaboration, best practices of transparency, best practices of engagement to ensure that teachers at all levels are paid their worth and their value, to ensure that all categories of educators in fact have a livable salary, to ensure that all categories of educators are able to survive at the end of the day. And so I'll be looking at three broad categories. I'll be looking at agitating the government for better wages. I'll be looking at agitating the government for better fringe benefits. And I'll be looking at agitating the government for better working conditions. And so this is who I am, Dorian Allen Rainford, teacher of class. When you vote for class, you are voting for commitment. When you vote for class, you are voting for loyalty. When you vote for class, you are voting for authenticity. A vote for class means sincerity and selfless representation for all categories of teachers in this society that we love so much, Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Allen Rainford, for that presentation. We'll now quickly move on over to Miss Georgia Green. We're happy you're able to join us, and I hope you're hearing us this time. Are you hearing me? Miss Georgia Green, are you hearing me? Is she looking frozen, or no, it's a still picture? Miss Green, are you hearing me?
Good evening, modern moderator. Good evening, fellow colleagues. I am Georgia Gowdy Green, one of the candidates in the president-elect election. A teacher for over 30 years, a JT advocate for over 30 years. I have served in different capacities. I have been a contact teacher for over 30 years. I have worked as a study circle convener. Currently, I'm a study circle trainer of conveners. I have worked as a parish president for the parish of St. James and also a parish treasurer. I have also served as a study circle chairman for St. James. At the national level, I've been a member of Central Executive and General Council. I have also served as the chairman of the National Study Circle Coordinating Committee. I've been a member of the Montego Bay DA, and I've also served as a delegate to many conferences. So who is Georgia Green? Georgia Green is one that believes that teacher advocacy is paramount to the teaching profession. I have served the teachers of St. James and Jamaica to the best of my ability. An award winner for the Prime Minister Medal of Appreciation. I've won an award for the Edith Dalton James. I've also been awarded at my school for long service as the longest serving member of staff, not the oldest, but the longest serving member of staff, the longest serving member of the academic staff, and also have been awarded for leadership in education. I've been awarded as a contact teacher twice from the Jamaica Teachers Association. I've been awarded the Jamaica Teachers Association 50th anniversary award from the parish of St. James. And the awards go on. Currently, I am a trainer in the Study Circle program. And Study Circle deals with membership education. So I know what I'm doing. I think I am the most qualified person for this position as president-elect. Vote for Georgia Green, a woman of knowledge, determination, decisiveness, and dependability. A strong woman. If you vote for Georgia, you won't be wrong. Georgia is the real deal. And when I become your JT president, I'll be lobbying the government for an improvement in salaries and conditions of service. I'll also be lobbying the government for an increase in NHT benefits. Currently, the NHT benefit for owning a home is 7.5 million. And I'll be lobbying the government for an increase in that benefit to match the market value of housing solutions. I'll also be lobbying the government to ensure that the national standard curriculum is implemented in school for the grade 10 and 11 program. I'll be lobbying the government for duty concession on cards for teachers. I'll be lobbying the government for traveling allowances for teachers. I will ensure that there's a reintroduction of industrial relations training for the teachers. I'll try to broaden and ensure that the number of persons who participate in the discount list for teachers be increased. I will also lobby the government to ensure that teachers who are at the bottom of the scale, the trained graduates, are remunerated properly. Our teachers are emigrating. The brightest minds, some of the brightest minds, the skilled persons, and we need them in our society. Recently, there was a talk that we should import skilled labor into Jamaica. And I'm saying to the government of Jamaica, or my team and I would say to the government of Jamaica, let us train our skill-based teachers. Let us improve the limited resources that they have working with. Ensure that they have technology, and so that they can do their work well. I will also lobby the government for the implementation of CCTV in the schools,
Georgia,
and for the reintroduction.
You far exceeded your 3 minutes. I'm so sorry.
For the reintroduction of the language arts textbook in the primary curriculums. These and many more you'll be hearing about later on. Thank you very much for listening to me. And when you go to the polls, I will say to all my colleagues, teachers, vote for Georgia, vote for knowledge, vote for experience.
Thank you.
Vote for dependability, vote for decisiveness, vote for determination, vote for a strong woman, vote for Georgia. Georgia is the real deal. Vote Georgia and you will be right.
Thank you very much, Miss Georgia. Can you hear me, everybody? Hello?
Yes, I am hearing you loud and clear, sir.
Miss Georgia never hearing me at all. But Rhea, you're on mute. Please unmute. You're on mute. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Green. Were you hearing us? You've taken 5 or more, about 7 minutes.
6.5 minutes.
Or 6.5, right. So you've extended the time for the show. All right, so my colleagues, you've heard from all 7 president-elect candidates for 2024-2025. I hope that as you listened, that your your decision as it relates to who you're voting for, and if you're not sure, will somewhat be picked, a little, so that as we go forward in the show, you will hear more and you'll be more convinced as to where your vote will go. Thank you very much for listening, colleagues, and thank you, candidates, for your presentation. I'll now hand over the time right back to the Saudichress.
Thank you very.
We're not hearing you now, sir. Nothing from your end. Nothing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you.
All right, thank you. Change of mic. All right, so yes, wonderful introduction, as I said before, and to my esteemed panelists, candidates elect for the JTA presidency for the 2024-25 campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, right there, I would like to say thank you very much. You have been participating a lot in the chat, a lot of comments coming on. I want to keep it going. But please remember to hit the like button as soon as you get in. There are so many of us and not seeing enough like. If you really like what's going on, please give us a thumbs up. Big up yourself to all the persons who are here. I want to big up Ramona, Stephanie, Kerry Teach. Yes, I want to big up Shadrick as well. Raphael Beckford, big up yourself. Raphael Naka. I want to say respect and joining us. I will take my time to big up everybody, not right through because it's a whole lot, but you will be never left out. Mr. Lee, and I've seen a lot of persons from the diaspora in. I've seen a lot of chat. Some people believe they still have a vote. Listen, if you're not a Jamaica Teachers Association member, you don't have a vote, but you can continue to fight for your favorite candidate. Elsie, big up yourself as well, and we continue. People, it's a pleasure, and I want to say to you tonight, we will hear much more from our candidates. But I'm going to ask a few questions right now. Now, most of you candidates, I've heard you and you speak well. You are passionate about what you do for your teachers and so on. The question right now, and I definitely will ask Miss Tolo, Mrs. Tolo rather, she's the first person who went. What will you do to convince our Jamaican teachers to remain a member of the JTA? Or what can we do to convince new teachers based on what's happening over the past couple of years?
You're muted.
Profound question, and having run already and been on the ground, I really know that teachers are not really interested in becoming JTA members. I could reel out all the benefits that JTA would have fought for and would have won. It took teamwork to do so. And persons are of the view that unionism is not relevant. But I want to put on the table that when it comes on to agitating for your rights or for changes, the ministry, they're not going to be coming to your classroom to talk to you or to talk to me. They are going to go to the body that represents the teachers. And if you are not putting your voice in to let your voice be heard, then whatever the Jamaica Teachers Association would have fought for and would have negotiated for, then you will have to accept it. But at the end of the day, really, it's people's choice whether they want to become a JTA member or not. But I say to you, why will you want to sit on the periphery and allow somebody else to lobby for you without you having a say. The best you can do is to get in the action, so you can send up your suggestions so that you will have a vote, and do not be like the Jamaican populace where we have 30% going to the poll or less, determine who it is that becomes the prime minister of Jamaica. We are educators, and we must determine who we want, or the team we want to go in and speak with the powers that be, because they're not coming to you, they're not coming to me, they will not do that. So come on, man, let us work together and be a force to reckon with, because standing alone we will not be able to do that, but together, like matches stick together, we cannot be broken.
Thank you very much. And
So join.
thank you very much for your response. Quite well. All right, heard it loud and clear. And I'll move to the next candidate. Same question to you, Mr. McNamee.
Thank you. On my manifesto, I have as a point, start the evolution of the study circle concept to become a formal institution for the training of members in member education. One of the main problem, as I've been out on the campaign trail, that teachers are unaware of the benefits of unionism. And I believe over the years, the real reason for the union has been eroded. We have been focusing more on professional development, and we've left out real unionism, championing the cause for the teachers. And so I believe that as a study circle, we could use that medium to educate our members to the benefits of the association, educate our members as to let them realize that really and truly we are the owners of the association. We are one of the biggest other trade union in the Caribbean, and to think that we own the organization, our powers are not known. And I believe as a president, I will take it on my shoulders to go, even I go around, I tell the teachers, I come around and I beg you for your vote. So it's no problem for me to come around after that, after when I become president, to drive that education force so that you can know exactly the powers that lies within your hands. We employ a set of people to manage our business. They weren't employed to run our show. We instruct them as to what to do, but that has flipped over the years because the true meaning of our union has eroded. And I will ensure that our members are educated so that we can really get our hands on what it is, the powers that really we have as teachers, as owners of this great Jamaica Teachers Association. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, this one, I'll take another candidate on this one, last one for this question, for the very same question. And I will pose this one, of course, to is it Mrs. Rainford?
Can I just ask you kindly to repeat the question?
Okay. What will you do to convince our Jamaican teachers to remain a member of the JT?
All right, thank you very much for that question. What am I going to do to convince teachers to remain a part of the union? First of all, very, very important, the need to empower our teachers. Once our teachers are empowered, then they feel as if they belong, they are part. Their influence and their input is extremely critical and important. How will I empower our teachers? They must be engaged in the process. They must know what is going on. Our DAs, our PAs, our district associations, our parish associations, our schools, the contact teachers at our schools, they must be involved in what is happening. They must be aware. There's another thing is in terms of the fact that in engaging our stakeholders, our teachers, that we also ensure that there is transparency. Now, teachers must feel as if they can trust the association. Trust. For you to build trust, then it means that there must be accountability, there must be proper governance. And so once those pillars are in place and there is collaboration, so it's not a one person, everyone is important. One basket, all of us coming together. So each educator is important in the process to ensure that the JTA moves forward in a positive direction and to ensure that their voices are heard and they are important and they are part of the equation. The final thing that I must say in empowering our teachers is the fact that they must be able to calculate their salaries. Too many of our teachers are ignorant. They cannot calculate their salaries. If you are not able to calculate your salaries, how will you know if you are getting the correct salary, number one? How will you know how to go, who to go to, how to question? Because anything you get, you take. Our teachers need to be empowered. And in being empowered, then they will ensure that they are now being paid their value and their worth. And this will also help to ensure that the migration of our best and brightest minds will be aborted.
Thank you very much. Just to say though, yes, this salary thing is a long standing. I am also one of those who are unable to calculate my salary. But of course, I believe the JTA has dropped the ball in that sense because you are the persons who we are depending on to do just that. So you have your hands full, man. And I'm expecting to hear much more about that whole aspect of calculation. Next question, I'm going to move to Mr. Malavan. Sir, I listened to your presentation, opening, and over the years, a number of past presidents would have tried to get the government to improve the salaries and condition of teachers. What different? What is your approach? How will you be able to get the government move in that direction? Please unmute your mics.
Thank you for that question. I was actually hoping that you would have asked me the first question because point 4, 5, and 16 of my manifesto speaks exactly to that. With respect to the negotiations, the truth of the matter is that we have always approached negotiation a particular way. And in this round of negotiation, I don't believe that we went inside that negotiation as informed as we should have been. There were 3 critical reports that we should have utilized in that negotiation to leverage in the interest of the teachers. There was the Ernst & Young report. There's the 2021 IDB report on education, and there is the Orlando Patterson report. The Orlando Patterson report and the 2021 IDB report on education spoke exclusively to remote inducement allowance and the fact that only 10% of teaching staff of the teaching population is benefiting from that, and that it needs to be expanded. The Ernst & Young report was what the government utilized, and it was not leveraged by the negotiation team in that negotiation. And I believe because of that, the teachers came out worse off. I will also say this. If we continue to negotiate in the way that we have always negotiated, then we will just be ending up with Einstein's definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We have to be very strategic. We have to leverage the research that is out there. We have to utilize the data. And one of the things that I have even put on my manifesto is that we need to have a research fellow within the JTA to help us to get the data so that we can leverage it in the negotiations. It's absolutely critical when we go into negotiate that we do not allow the government to divide us. We were weakened in the last round of negotiation because there was a level of divisiveness within the JTA that did not lend itself to advocacy. And whilst some of us were busy advocating and agitating on the floor of General Council or annual conference or special conference, there were others that were engaging in other activities that were inimical to our cause. It requires a certain level of leadership that will be guided by the research, that has presence, that can speak to the issues, that can articulate the issues, and can leverage these reports in the interest of the teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much on that, sir. Thank you. And I will ask this very same question, of course, to Mr. Williams.
All right, sir. Good evening again.
Yes, boss.
All right. Could you just repeat, just go over the question
Okay.
for me, please?
A number of past presidents would have
Yes.
tried to get the government to improve salaries and conditions for our teachers. What different or what approach will you have to ensure that you get them to do the same?
All right. A stronger body is a stronger voice. A stronger voice will give the government a listening ear. And so I believe one of the first steps is to get back some of our members on board who are non-members, and especially the new teachers who are entering the system. Because as was mentioned, a divided team is not going to reap the results, the results that we'll be looking for. What is important in a negotiation, well, it is expected that both teams will win, or you have to meet the other party halfway, some way. All right. There are different strategies that will have to be employed, because when you lose in one area, then you place an alternative on the table. All right. Statistics are important. Research in other jurisdictions as well to show what is happening elsewhere and how is it that we can. And I think breaking down, because the government comes and they already in the back of their head would have decided how much is it that they want to give the teachers. And I believe that if we're not satisfied, we must hold out a little longer, because as was mentioned, if the team is divided, then we're not going to be achieving the desired results. And so we're going to press forward using the various strategies, help the government to understand where we're at and what is it that we're looking for, and encourage them to meet us at least halfway. So in the end, both teams will win, because again, we're losing our teachers, and if the teachers are not properly compensated, more are going to be leaving, and the education system is going to be destroyed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. People in the chat, remember, hit the like button. And also, you can post your questions. I've seen a lot there. There are suggestions. They are bigging up. I see you shouting out for your favorite candidate. But you can pose your question, and of course, I'll ask at the relevant time to the different candidates. All right? Next question, and this will go to the next two candidates. O'Keefe, Mr. Sanders, you make mention of not just salaries, but benefits. You talk about housing solutions. Tell us, sir, what's your plan in getting the government to assist or to make more housing, affordable housing, to teachers of this nation?
Okay. We know that housing is very important, and if any one of us retire from this profession and don't own a home, in the Jamaican term, said dog with yam with supper. Now, $7.5 million can't buy not even a quad in Portmore. A broke down house in Patrick City, Pembroke Hall, Duane Park is 19, 20 million. Now we're having a mass migration of our teachers leaving the Jamaica shores. I will lobby with the government to let the government know you must come up with benefits for teachers to stay, especially the young teachers who are entering the profession. People want home to live. So I will lobby with the government for 100% financing by buying a house on the open market, because most times teachers can identify a home, but really is the down payment. So if the government want teachers to stay in Jamaica and teachers can get 100% financing along with a reduced interest rate and also a special benefit for teachers of $14 million per teacher to buy a home, you know that we have to, we have to buy according to our pocket. But when we have a 14 million and 100% financing on the open market for teachers, this will help to grab the teachers to stay in the country because housing is one of the most important thing ever.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I will add a little piece to Miss Georgia Green. She had given us a whole heap of things, an entire package of what she will do or actually lobby for in terms of, the whole system of governance. And so, Miss Green, the question is apart. Lobbying the government. You would have been in JTA for over 30 years based on your pronouncement. And you'd have seen many presidents, many teams would have gone to lobby in terms of different salaries and benefits and so on. Point to point, what is your plan? How will you take on lobbying the government for housing and for these benefits that we all speak about? So you're muted. Can you unmute your mic? Ms. Green, are you hearing me? Hello, Ms. Green?
She's not hearing well because of the background noise
Okay, all
where
right.
she's at. Miss Green? I think probably the sound is breaking up as we could see the image.
Good
Miss Green,
evening again to everyone.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
As I spoke about lobbying the government, it will be my team and I, the negotiating team and myself, who will go towards or into the negotiating room to negotiate with the government. And as a team, before we go, we would have had our documents, our claim documents with us. And so based on what is on our claim, that is what we will take to the bargaining table. As we bargain, we will look at some of the must-haves, and those are what we think we need to get. We will look at some of the things we wish we would get and some of the things that the government will give us. As we negotiate and we lobby the government, hoping that some or most of our claims will be met. I know that there are going to be hard lines that will be drawn, but we have many strategies. We can have walkout, we will negotiate, we can have deadlock, we can have bluff, but at the end of the day, when we negotiate, we know that some of the things we will agree on, those that we have got bargained for years ago, or we have gained over the years, we would not want those to be taken away from us. And so we are going to lobby for those to remain and if possible be increased. The new ones on the table are the ones that we hope that the government will meet us either halfway with, or the government will just give them to us. And we know that in negotiating over the years, it has not really been an easy task because the government will come and they are going to have in their mind what they plan to give us. But we are going to make sure that we try to get as much as we want from them.
Right.
As we are given our goodies, we will not just accept like that, but we'll have to take it back to the constituents, to the teachers, to let them know what we have gained as we bargained and what we hope we would have gotten and what the government would have said no to. Negotiation is not always an easy process. However, all of us should leave the bargaining table feeling satisfied. In the recent salary negotiation, it wasn't even a negotiation, it was a salary restructuring. Many of our Jamaican teachers were dissatisfied. Many of them were not satisfied what they got. Some of what we had gained, we had lost them.
All right.
And many of the anomalies were not settled. And I believe that as you negotiate, or as we negotiate as a team, we have to try to settle those anomalies before we sign any heads of agreement.
All right.
So
Thank
there
you
are
very
many
much. And that
strategies, as
makes
I already said, that we'll use, and we have to make sure that we use them and use them well.
all right.
Our negotiating team is
Miss-
made up of different members of the sector: primary, tertiary, early childhood.
Miss
And
Green?
so we will all go trying to see how much we can get.
All right. Miss Green, I hope you are hearing while I actually speak, because it seems like you're not hearing me.
Can you
right?
hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing us clearly?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
All right. So you need to actually see how best you can listen, how to hear, because the timing has to be very, very concise. All right. Thank you very much. So
Not
good, right?
hearing you.
Not hearing? I hope
No.
everybody. Wow. I understand your
I'm having some
situation.
technical challenges, in this conference room.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you can get that one sorted out quickly. All right. People, questions. I will take your questions in the chat when you're ready. All right. But colleagues, candidates, I ask this question every time I actually, have a conversation with the JTA hierarchy members. What I learned about JTA, and many of our teachers who probably don't understand the ins and outs of the JTA. The only thing for me JTA puts across, and if I'm wrong, you can stand for correction, all right, is the matter of negotiation where salaries are concerned. It seems like that is the number one aim or objective of the JTA. I will give each of you 1 minute to tell us what really are the key points, what are the aims and objectives of the Jamaica Teachers Association, because we're talking about union outside of salary negotiation, because that's what we talk about every time. So again, if I'm wrong, you may say, but educate us, people, and I'm sure other members would like to know, what are the key functions of the Jamaica Teachers Association?
Saudichress, do you want us to go in the same alphabetical order?
Yes, we could.
Okay, all right. I'll go then with Miss Allen Rainford. And then Miss Green left us, and we move along to Miss Baker Tolo. And then Mr. Malava, and then Mr. McNamee, then Mr. Saunders, and then Mr. Williams, in that order. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And people, remember, just a minute, all right? In a nutshell, quickly.
All right. So in a nutshell, the goals and objectives of the Jamaica Teachers Association is really to agitate and really represent the interests of the teachers for better working conditions and better salaries and fringe benefits. It's also about empowering teachers through training, professional development, seminars, workshops, to ensure that they know what the Jamaica Teachers Association is about, and also to help the teachers to grow professionally, to develop, and to become the better pursers, better teachers, more informed, and to ensure that they be facilitators of learning to the teachers, the best facilitators of learning, not to teachers, sorry, to their students. And at the end of the day, to ensure that the education system in Jamaica is the best education system that we can get in the Caribbean and even the wider world, the global economy and global climate.
Okay, Miss Green, are you back with us? All right, not hearing from her. Miss Baker Tolo, you may go since it's your B. You may go ahead.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
one moment. Sorry, one moment. Miss Green,
Yes. Let me go.
all right, hold on, Miss Green, because we will have to pose a question to you once more. So let's go with those who heard the question, and we come right back to you. Miss Baker Tolo, you may go ahead. We're not hearing you if you're speaking.
Okay, what are the aims and objectives of the Jamaica Teachers Association? My esteemed colleague would have spoken to some aspect of it, but the truth be told, the aim and objective, what the Jamaica Teachers Association is about, can be seen in its vision and in its mission statement. And when you hear JTA, you should not only envision salary negotiation, but you should envision a body of educators that see to the professional development of its members and also the social advancement of its members. And this it does in various means. We have education conferences, we have training for young leaders, we have the Jamaica Publishing House that is geared toward the publication of materials that our teachers would have written. So Jamaica Teachers Association aim is to ensure that we are financially well off, we are professionally well off, and we are also socially well off. And that is why even if you are having issues emotionally, we have a counselor that you can get in touch with. So we are not all about salary negotiation. Mind you, we know that that is important because you should not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treads the corn.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to Mr. Malaba.
Thank you, Ria. I don't believe that you'll find much disagreement on this particular topic amongst the candidates. The truth is that the JTA is unionism on one hand and association on the other. I believe if our forefathers was only concerned about salaries and conditions of service, then they would limit the name to Jamaica Teachers Union and not association. The truth is, though, is that over the years, I believe that we have been somewhat neglectful of the association component. And because of that, we are no longer seen within educational circles as the leaders of transformation in education. And I believe that we have not been as progressive in our thinking, in our articulation, as we ought to with respect to transformation of the education system. And it is something that I believe that we need to push more in terms of that agenda, and that we need to reposition the JTA to become more progressive in terms of how we articulate the issues, to become more progressive in terms of how we research the issues and put it out there, and to restore our credibility in a way that we can utilize that and spend that capital for in terms of the unionism aspect of what you are doing. You don't need to look further than joint select, for example, in terms of when the JTA is presenting at joint select, the level of disdain that that the JTA is treated with at joint select committee, for example. You can see that. So I believe, in essence, it is something that we ought to do to treat with the association component more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Matnami?
Thank you. Well, the JTA is built on two pillars. We have the professional arm and we have the unionism arm. Now, for years, we've seen the professional arm flourish. The professional arm, the pillar is to ensure that we have workshops and all of that to ensure that the teachers are well exposed professionally. There's also advocacy. We advocate for members for salary, better working condition, fair wages, and better policies that runs education. The JTA also offers support. There is, I heard the support as it relates to counseling. We also offer support as it relates to legal support to members who really sometimes get that end of the spectrum. JTA also promotes collaboration. And collaboration, we enhance best practices across the country when we do our seminars and that sort of thing. Leadership development is also one of the strong pillars in the JTA. I would have benefited immensely from the many leadership initiatives that the JTA has put out or put forth, and also the professional standards that JTA upholds. I think, as I said before, one of the main reasons is that it's a sad situation that most of our members, we have over 20,000 members, and most of our members are really unaware of the benefit that they can get from this organization. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We have next Mr. Sanders.
Okay. You know, as you said, most time the only thing teachers think about is salary negotiation. But JTA needs to do more for the teachers when it come on to the well-being of the teachers, right? To develop teachers, more professional seminars for teachers, webinar, the webinar and all of these things for teachers. You have the vulnerable teachers who need help, especially have some retired teachers who retired in the 90s, who they're in financial difficulties. JTA, as what Suzette said, JTA is a rich organization, a rich organization. Now, we need to do more for the teachers to believe in the JTA, not only just for salary alone, the injustice of teachers and all of these things that is happening in the schools, and behavioral problem with students, discipline measures and all of these things. The JTA need to get more involved. And as a president, those are some of the things definite I am going to work on for the teachers to believe in the JTA.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Williams?
Go ahead. Mr. Williams?
Somebody's muffled. So, right. Thank you so much. I think it is very important that we speak from an informed perspective. JTA is a trade union first, but also JTA offers professional development for its members. Because at the end of the day, if you remember the association, we want it to be empowered so you can be that change maker within the classroom and the education system. Now, if we just remind ourselves that salary negotiation was once every 2 years, you know, a couple of years ago, we have seen where the cycle has somewhat shifted. And we know that salary, for most presidents, salary is a big ticket item. But I must inform you that the JTA is much more than that and would have offered and continue to offer more than that. So we spoke about conferences. Next week we'll be heading off to Education Conference in Trelawney. There's Helen Stills Professional Development Day that will happen during Education Week. There's Education Symposium. We spoke about welfare. There's Travel and Wellness Getaway. There are trips. There's a Disney World trip. There are many things that happen. There's an Education Summit that will happen in May that members will go 50,000 from the association that will go towards your trip. We're talking about members here. One of our challenges is that sometimes the communication, these are not the things that will make the news, but it does not mean that the association is not doing it. Is there room for improvement? Of course there is, because the association is not perfect. And we have over 20 committees, national committees that carries out the mandate. And if we remind ourselves as well that the aspects of the association is based on the mandate of the president. There are some items that are staple items, but that will have to do with the mandate of the president at that particular time. So JTA does all of that. Is there room for improvement? Of course there is.
All right, thank you very much for that. So we have with us now Miss Georgia Green. Can you hear us clearly, Miss Green?
The talk shop over there.
Miss Green, are you able to hear us? Miss Green, it seems like you have engaged otherwise. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Miss Green? Miss Green? It's not responding. Seems like she's not hearing us. We are hearing her background. I'm sure that she's engaged.
Hello, are you calling me? Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. We have been calling you for the longest while.
May I have your question now?
You are able to hear us now? Can you hear me? Are you hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay. All right. So the question as I posed to everyone, I will say that what are the key functions of the JTA? For me, as I started out by saying, most time you hear about JTA, it's all about salary negotiation. And of course, I stand for correction. I'm here to learn, and just like many of my friends out there in YouTube land, what are the key functions of the JTA? And you have a minute to respond.
The key functions of the Jamaica Teachers Association.
Yes, are the aims and objectives, so to speak, outside of salary negotiation.
Is for representation in disciplinary matters regarding teachers in the different institutions. So when there's a disciplinary action that is taken against a teacher, the JTA will be the friend that is made reference to in the Code of Regulation, the Education Code of Regulation. 2, the JTA will give legal advice and representation. So if the matter is taken to the tribunal, the JTA, or to the appeals court, the JTA will represent the teacher. The job of the JTA also is for job placement. There are teachers that are in different areas and they want to relocate. So JTA also assists with job placement of teachers. JTA also offers professional counseling to teachers who are depressed or they just need counseling on different matters. And there's a counseling unit that is at the head office at 97B Church Street. JTA also offers professional training and services to teacher. There's a professional unit there. And we have, apart from the study circle that offers membership education, we also have the education conferences that are held every year, and also the Helen Stills Professional Development Day. So JTA does all of that and more.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.
JTA is
Miss
also
Green,
involved
your minute is up.
in sports.
Thank you very much, Miss Green.
No problem.
All right. No, colleagues, I must just get back to YouTube. Let me just read a few of the comments and we'll get back to you. Not all I'll read, please bear that in mind. But some of those who there's a number of persons. I see the people shouting out for the green team. There are some persons shouting out, of course, for the MM team. I've seen persons shouting out for the which team is this one now? Well, say Mark Manava. I've seen people shouting out for
Team
O'Keefe. People
McNabb.
shouting out right across. Yes, of course, McNamee. And people you can view the chat as well as my panelists and pick some of these.
And I
All
see
right.
O'Keefe
Now,
Saunders too. And Jermaine.
yes,
So
man. Everybody getting their shout out. Yes, I'm just checking a few. Of course, Williams, help me, Mrs. Spirit, and of course, you will help me to bring those as a producer. I can't unable to see everything, but as I asked that the chat post the questions, I've seen more not suggestions, but throwing out ideas. Yes, I want the questions direct to any of these candidates, and I must say in a little while, we'll have each candidate asking a specific question to anyone on the panel. So you choose the person you want to ask the question, candidates. I know it's kind of tricky, but it's part of the excitement of the show. There's basically 7 of you, and now it's difficult for us to have a real cross examination. What I promise though, any candidate, and I'm open to take anyone at any night, or if you want to have a two coming out at a night just to showcase what you really have, because this is really a summary of what you can put out there. I know you have your manifesto. I heard people talk about that 7 points. And then I hear a 12-point manifesto, so I can imagine that would not take up a show like this. So we'll get you back here on the Saudichress show very soon, before the elections though. Anyway, is that a question? Oh, all right. So a question coming up from Bernice. My question to the classroom teacher candidates. If you were asked to fill the position of principal of a school, would you take the position?
No.
So that's the question. If you can see it, I placed it on the screen. So the question is to the classroom. This is a very big question.
Can I,
Bernice, where are you from? Be careful, Bernice. So the question is, if you were asked to fill the position of a principal of a school, would you take the position? And that's coming from the candidates who are classroom teachers. Who want to take that one first?
can I go ahead?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll
Right.
speak afterwards.
Good evening. All right. I think all of us were placed on earth for a purpose. I was the first, I was a part of the first 40 persons who were trained in NSEL in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, I got a fellowship. But I'll tell you that when I did that program, it was not about becoming a principal. It was just to empower myself as a classroom teacher, as a leader within the institution, because you can be a leader in various sectors of the school and not necessarily at the helm. Now, would I take the position? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't, because I am putting myself forward as a candidate in the JTA President-elect race and as a classroom teacher. And that's what I'm going in as a classroom teacher. I'm not for sale. And so I will be a classroom teacher going into the race. What will happen in the future? I don't know.
So, so sir, you are saying to Jamaica and to the
Yes.
world, of course, so many of us in the
Yes.
diaspora, we have DL right here coming out of Maryland. Listen, are you saying to me a position come to you for a post of principal?
Like right now.
Yes,
Mhm.
you would not accept.
No,
Thank you.
because because I'm in it for the
And it's
long
because
haul.
of a candidate.
Yes,
It's
I've
because of a
served.
candidate.
Sorry.
And it is because of the situation now that you're applying or you're vying for the post of
That's what
president.
I'm saying. I'm not sure what will happen in the future, but at this time in my life, I've put forward myself, and I've always said to myself that I want to break that glass ceiling, because when I check the last 12 years, we have had one lecturer, all the others have been principal.
All
No
right.
offense, big up to them, but
Thank
I
you
want to
very
break
much.
that glass ceiling as a
Thank you
classroom
very
teacher.
much. Yes, Mr. Renford.
All right. So, if I was given or being offered that principal position right now, would I take it in light of the fact that I'm a candidate in this presidential election? And I would have to say that no. As a classroom teacher, I represent not only the educators, not only most of the educators in Jamaica, almost 80% are classroom teachers. Now, as a principal, you become the CEO and the chief accounting officer. As an NSEL graduate, I would have been exposed to those areas, and so the training that I would have had, I would think that I would rather to use that training to represent effectively the interests of the classroom teachers and of all categories of educators at the bargaining table, utilizing my skills in terms of financial management and accounting, which allows me to be able to read financial statements, to actually know about the auditing, to actually know about the impact of inflation and price increases, and
All
so
right.
say to the Ministry of Finance that listen, whatever you are offering us, that's not good enough. And I know that as the classroom teacher, I'll be most effective in ensuring that all those that have been lost in terms of the fact that our teachers are worse off, being a part of them, I can be most effective in representing
Thank
that
you.
need and
Thank you
those
very
needs.
much. Thank you very much. O'Keefe, it's your turn.
Okay, I share the same as Jermaine and Mrs. Renford. I am also an NSEL trained. I think I'm the third batch of NSEL. But at the moment, I have a passion for teachers. And not until government do something for teachers' life to be better before I would accept a job as a principal. At the moment, it's no. Who feels it knows it. I am on the ground at the moment, picking up corns like fowl. I'm going to stay on the ground to elevate the teachers that we can fly in the air also like an eagle. Thank you.
Do we have any other classroom teacher here? No, listen. This is a very good question. And it's a question because you listen to the presentations, and a lot of people have believed that, yes, it is a classroom teacher who knows how to be with the classroom teachers. I'm going to say this, and please bear this in mind. I'm just a messenger. I believe that almost every principal has passed through the rank of a classroom teacher.
Yeah.
Are you saying to me it is when you reach that desk or that chair that you forget about the classroom or forget about the classroom teacher? Not a question for answer, just a food of thought. But the fact of the matter, and it's very interesting, people. I'm telling you, it's true. It's very
I
interesting
actually
to
wish
hear
you
you.
would allow us to give a response to that
I will
question.
allow you to rebut to that. But it's very interesting to me listening you people to say that if you should have given this post, you would not have taken. Somehow, it's very, very hard to consume. But that's you. And personally, I'm just saying that pulling these tongues here. So we want to hear a little rebuttal, not so much arguments. And we're gonna have the rebuttal very, very short. It must be very short. Since
How
it
short
was
should it
posed
be?
to you. 30 seconds, because it wasn't posed to you.
Well, you see, one of the things that I like about the JT is that it has the brightest minds in the country. There's no other union that has the amount of degrees that we have. But the argument around whether or not it should be a teacher versus a vice principal or a principal, it is too frivolous, it is too myopic, it is too simplistic an argument. There is a theory in leadership that is called implicit leadership theory. And what it says is that it looks at leadership collectively. And it says that followers of this this prototype in the back of their head, and they look at the leader that is in front of them and determine whether or not they fit that prototype. Every single principal has been a teacher, and on top of that, no principal can seriously say that they have been an effective principal and they did not stand on the shoulder of teachers. It is teachers who do the
Thank
heavy
you
lifting.
very much, sir. Thank you.
And as such, we have to ensure that our teachers are properly placed and properly positioned on the scale. Thank you.
Mr. McNamee can't wait to go. Have it, sir.
Yes, I'm very curious, you know, because first, if you go on the NCL website, it tells you that the aspiring principal program was designed to adequately prepare individuals for the task of principalship prior to their being in the post. So I wouldn't want to complete a program wasting my time if I am not preparing to get into the post. Other than that, though, as Mr. Malava would have said, we have been teachers, and in fact, we are just the head teacher. I consider myself now as the head teacher of the institution, and my teachers will tell you that the relationship that we share, it speaks volume. That to date, I have 10 teachers, though small school, but to date, I have not had a teacher who migrated. None has left. Teachers have gotten the opportunity and they did not go because of the kind of relationship, the kind of environment that I, as a principal, try to create. A good classrooms, I get those done. Get parental involvement. I get all those support for my teachers because I know that I taught in the classroom for years, and what I didn't get, I try to give to my teachers. Just like what I didn't get, I give to my children now. So I treat it just the same. My teachers can testify to that. I have no
Thank you, sir.
when it comes to that.
Let me just go to Mrs. Baker Tolo. What's your take on the matter? Your rebuttal for 30 seconds.
Interesting. There's a scripture which says that the students are, in my interpretation, are better than their teachers because of the fact that they would have aligned themselves to. You're hearing me? You're hearing? Interesting. There's a scripture which says that the students are, in my interpretation, are better than their teachers because of the fact that they would have aligned themselves to.
Hold on a second.
You're hearing me? Yeah.
Yes, somebody has a device on. Can you check to see those who have a device on? All right, I think Miss Georgia Green, I think that's you. All right, go ahead now, Miss Tolo. Sorry about that. I'll give you back the time.
Yes. As educators in the classroom, whether 2, 5, 10, 30 years, for myself, I've been a teacher for 29, 30 years. And we want our students to be better than us. So seeing our students becoming teachers, we also want them to be leaders in various institutions. And so, well, if my colleagues do not aspire to become principal, so be it. But as educators, we want the best. And for me, as a principal, I like it. It is a joy when my colleagues aim for better. And if they're in a country that does not acknowledge their years of experience and their qualification, and they can go somewhere else where it is acknowledged, they are paid for their years of experience and paid for the qualification, and their husband or their children can go with them. So be it. They have my blessings. We want them to be better than us.
Thank you very much. Miss Green, can you use your 30 minutes to rebut the issue on that question? Miss Green, can you hear me?
Thank you.
Miss Green?
Miss Green?
Whether or not you are a principal or a classroom teacher does not determine who or how good of a JTA president you will be. I have been a classroom teacher for over 25 years. I know what it is to be a classroom teacher. I've been there and I've done that. There are many principals who are still classroom teachers. There are many vice principals who are still teaching based upon the number of students that you have in the school and the number of teachers that are present on roll. So guess what? This idea of being a classroom teacher, that is the person that we want to represent us this year. That argument does not stand. We want the brightest mind. We want the best individual. We want the person who we think will sit at the table and do a good job. So whether or not you are a principal or a classroom teacher, in June, let the ballot speak. Persons will go to the poll and they will doesn't matter. That the person who will get the job done should be the person.
No, Miss Green, you have to work with us. You have to work with the time span. And if we're asking you, that's it. You must cut, please. All right? Thank you very much on that. Yes, but I'm saying to you, you need to work with the time span. If I'm asking you, said thanks, and that's it, your time, you need to work with it. All right, Miss Green? Thank you.
Am I allowed to comment or just the principal?
No, man, you already made that. Didn't you comment?
Oh, it's a different question, though.
That.
Oh, no.
I'm saying that whether or not you are a principal or a classroom teacher.
Miss Green, we have heard you. Yes, we get your thoughts, and I'm saying we're moving on. All right? Just work along with the program. Thank you very much. All right, so we have to move on. We can't continue on this sort of thing, Miss. You have to find a way where you can hear us quite well.
The teachers of Jamaica will determine who they want to lead them.
Miss Green, you're not working with the program, Miss Green.
My mic keeps closing off. Is there someone turning off the mic?
Yes, I am closing your mic. I'm closing your mic because you're not working with it. I'm saying it just was just a rebuttal for 30 seconds and you keep going. Try and listen to the command so we can have this.
I'm hearing you now.
All right, thank you. So I said that we heard you.
Or a classroom teacher.
Miss Green, Miss Green, you are also playing your device, listening to yourself, which gives a feedback. All right, so work with it. All right, so another question that came from the chat, and it is from DL coming out of Maryland. The question is for the team, I don't know which team, I guess for everybody. What different can you bring to the JTA we have not seen before? Yes, what different can you bring to the JTA that we have not seen before? Mr. Williams, I'm going to do the reverse this time. All right, Spirit, is that okay with you, Madam Producer?
They all have 1 minute to.
I'm not hearing you, Mrs. Spirit.
You're kidding me. You're not.
Your device. You are far away from your mic. All right, work. All right. So I was saying the question was again. Let me post it. Thank you very much. You're back on. So what different can you bring to the JTA that you have never seen before? Again, people, these are just some 1 minute question. Should I say 1 minute answer rather? All right. I know it's difficult, but let's go quick. What different? I'm gonna go with Mr. Williams first.
All right. So good evening again, team. JTA would have existed before I was born. The time that I would have served would have at least have 12 serving presidents that I would have been, aligned to the Jamaica Teachers Association. Now, I can't say that if it will be different or not, but what I can say is that I would want to build on the legacy of our past presidents, the work that has been done in the association. I would want to build on that. With my team, my experienced team, knowledgeable team, we seek to, there are aspects of the association that I believe would require some improvement. And so if I'm elected or when I'm elected, then we wish to build on that and to seek to improve some of those aspects that has to do with communication, because the association is still doing a lot, but sometimes it's not being communicated, so the members actually don't know. And internally, in terms of the structure of the association as well, I believe that if the structure is tightened, then we'll have a stronger association as well. And of course, my wonderful mandate that will be shared, that will also bring some new ticket items to the table as well.
We're not hearing you. So we go with O'Keefe. Mr. Saunders, his response to the question.
Okay. Well, when I am elected as president, this 1 year president thing, I think is a failure for JTA. This 1 year president thing is a failure. Because when you look, Mark Malava have over 20 of his 20 policies he want to implement it in 1 year. I have about 16. That can't work in 1 year. It doesn't matter IPP, president-elect, and president work together. Whenever president takes a throne, his mandate, he or she, their mandate to come out. So I believe that as a president, I would call a resolution. The teachers own the JTA. Call a resolution for that constitution to change, for a president to serve at least 2 or 3 years, and give the rights to the teachers. If the president is non-performing, the teachers can impeach that president. If you are satisfied with the performance of that president, the teachers can re-elect that president for another term, and that's it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much on that.
Mr. McNamee.
Thank you. What I do different, what we realize is that the landscape has changed over the years, and we cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results. That's foolhardy. And so we are now dealing with quote unquote brighter politicians. Gone are those days when you get things, you go to the negotiating table and you get away with things. So what we have to do, we have to be more well researched, well calculated. We do not necessarily need a research officer to be well researched. We just need to ensure that we get our team together. One of the things that I'm sure what I will do is to ensure that all members of the salaries and conditions of service team receive the requisite 21st century training that is necessary for 21st century negotiation. We cannot continue to do the same thing, as I say, and expect different results. What we could possibly do, though, as a union, is create what I would call a strike fund. That fund would now substantiate us just in case we reach that level where teachers now can feel comfortable knowing that they won't be losing any salary, just in case it leads to that level. So there are ways we have to start thinking differently how it is that we approach this negotiation. We also have to look at our conditions of service. We cannot be beating salaries. We have to look at the conditions under which we operate, because we have to also remember that the conditions under which we operate are the conditions under which students learn. So we do have the parents in our pocket. We just always sell our information. It's how we present our things out there. We have to be well researched, well calculated, and more inclusive.
Thank you very much. All right, who next, Miss Spirit?
Mr. Malava.
Thank you. I think there needs to be a paradigm shift within the JTA. I think I certainly believe that we need to give back the JTA to the members. The members need to feel as if they are a part of the union, and we certainly need to get them more involved in the process. It's one of the reasons, for example, why I am putting that there needs to be some amendment to the Constitution to ensure that any list of claims as it relates to salaries and conditions of services is first ratified by at a special delegates conference before it is sent over to the ministry so that the negotiation process can commence. Um, I too believe that we certainly have to leverage the research in the negotiations. We are dealing with politicians, and they are worried about two things. Public perception is one, and money is the other. We need to utilize that. We certainly need to get other stakeholders involved. We need to engage, for example, the PSOJ and get them on our side. The PSOJ is by far the most powerful entity inside Jamaica, and when they speak, the government listens. There are synergies between us and them in terms of what they would want to see in education, and we need to get them on board so that they can lend their voices to us. There are other things I believe that I certainly bring to the table, but that does not permit me. Thank you much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Miss Green, are you hearing us? Can you hear us to come in?
Hello, yes, I'm hearing you now.
Great. Do you have a response to the question?
I did not hear the question.
Okay.
The question is, what different would you take to the JTA?
Did you hear the question? Should you become president of the JTA, what is it that you would do differently? Something that has never been done before. Yeah.
If I should become president of the JTA, what would I do differently? There are many things that I could have done differently. For one, I would ensure that my teachers through the length and breadth of Jamaica are trained in industrial relations. I'm not referring to only the contact teachers or the parish presidents or the DA presidents. I'm talking about taking this training to the teachers within the schools. I'm not talking about only the study circle conveners. I'm referring to the teachers, have some training sessions for the teachers, whether we go online or we meet at different locations, but I would want to ensure that they become better workers. I would want to ensure that there's a good relationship between employer-employee relationship, because based upon what I have heard others saying this afternoon, they would prefer to have the classroom teachers as their national president. So what is it that is happening between the principals and the teachers, the classroom teachers? Why is there, seem as if there's some animosity? They also need to understand more about the negotiating process. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And that,
Good.
We have all...
No, go to Mrs. Baker Tolo. And then Mrs. Allen Rainford.
Okay, what new would I bring that has never been seen before? Maybe not too possible, but I think it would be the things that I'll my focus point in terms of lobbying on behalf of the teachers. And the new one would be for tax return. We should be enjoying tax return now. All of us have been seeing our income tax going up and our salaries not moving. So some tax is owed to us. So that is a conversation that I would really start. Another one is for the realignment of teachers' salary now, and this has nothing to do with principal. A teacher is a teacher. To be realigned to a minimum of 80% of what our colleagues are being paid when they migrate. And the other one, when it comes on to police record and food handlers permit, I mean, payment for that, for us to see to have reimbursement being done online, so that it will ensure we get more money in our pockets. And this is the one that I'm still putting back on the table, that as teacher, we should be able to have at least one of our child being granted 100,000 scholarship if they are going to university for the 4 years that they are doing their degree. So that it will be the items that I bring on the table. But most importantly, this is the one that I have a passion for
Your
as it
time is
relates
up.
to general council, for the first meeting to be on a neutral day and the last meeting to be on a neutral day, so that all members who are representing their constituency can be represented. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So good night again, everyone. In the last compensation review, some $10 billion Jamaican dollars were lost by a particular category of teachers, that's a graduate trained teachers, in terms of salaries and fringe benefits. As a matter of fact, our teachers are now worse off than they were before. Now, as your president, what I bring to the table is a competence in the area of accounting and financial management, which allows me to crunch the numbers, which allow me to know that this is the impact of inflation. This is what inflation has caused. This is what the price increases has caused and has created and has impacted the teachers and the educators of this country. And therefore, when I go before the finance minister, I have the competences, the knowledge to know that, listen, read the financial statement. When I'm told that how many billions of dollars going towards education, and then I can break it up and say, this is what each teacher will be getting, because I have the ability to break it down so that the teachers of this country, so that the educators of this country will know exactly what they will be paid. And so my job is to ensure that all educators are paid
Thank
their
you.
worth and value based on the Ernst and Young report
Thank you
of
very much.
2021 and the Orlando Patterson report, so that the migration of the brightest and the best minds, where we see over 1,500 teachers leaving in 2022 and another almost 1,000
All right, miss,
teachers,
your time is up.
best minds, leaving in 2023 of August. That will not happen again.
Very, very brief statements. I can tell you. Mrs. Richards, Pierre, tell me, how is it going in your chat? Have any chats coming from WhatsApp? Do you want to take a few from the chat for
No,
review? And
I am like personal to me.
your
No,
mic is very low. You're very low, miss.
I'm not sure what's happening, but nothing. I am I seeing anything here? No, probably they're all coming to the host and not the co-host. Do you have any?
Well, not really, but in the chat of YouTube, it's very, very going on. I see people asking about AI, and it's one that I will read, people, and let me just post it. It's coming from K. Bins. If the new fad for AI is published in Jamaica, like China, do you think AI computer usage could be the solution to our present educational system? That's one that we are to look at, people. And there's another one I put up. Well, that one is big, Mr. Sanders. That's the one I was going for. But there's one. All of you are bright minds. We wait fair and radical representation. So guess what? Very good one. All of you have bright minds. You see, one of the things I want to say, people, and when I listen to the discussion, especially people going, classroom teachers versus those who are principal, one thing I will say, and I will reserve that, because as the host of the show and a teacher myself, and well, by no means I'm also a principal, but I have not seen the connect or the disconnect between a teacher principal. I see somebody in the chat mention about Duran Dixon, who was the only one so far who have not been a principal of such. I don't think it's the nature of the job or the position that you hold. I think really and truly it goes right down to the individual, what he or she stands for and what is in the best interest sometimes of themselves, not necessarily be the teachers. And we hear all sort of things going on. But as I said, I asked the question, what are the things that you bring to the table? And, I listen to Mark and I listen to Ethan. I listen to even Jeremy when they talk about the things that JTA has been doing and what they continue to do. The problem that I face with the JTA, we are not in the public eyes. We are in the public eyes when negotiation comes around. Yes, I know the media like to take news, but it's your responsibility as members of the JTA to push that agenda, to ensure every single social media you can have there. Put it out, let the people know, let the teachers know. Sometimes I've been asked questions that I'm unable to answer. I will tell you. And when I make reference to the JTA rep, then of course you hear different stories. So the fact is, we need to put ourselves out there. The other question that I've seen people say, if you want to know how the JTA, come and be a member of the JTA. There are a lot of persons out there who are members of the JTA cannot identify the core values per se because it is not being highlighted, if you ask me. I remember as a young teacher, we used to have the I think it's still going on, of course, when you have the new teacher induction or new teacher training. I'm not sure how is it going on now. These are some of the things, and a lot of things have changed,
I
Mrs.
tell
Richard
you,
Spears.
I tell you, my host, that I think membership and involvement in the JTA somewhat has to do with personality. I did not tell myself I was destined for the classroom. I thought I was giving back 5 years to education. But immediately after I went in, because I was always impressed by strikes and how much teachers stood up for themselves against the government. And I got involved immediately as I got into teaching. By my second year, I became the contact teacher, and they voted for me every year to be the contact teacher. I've been the one of the best contact teacher that they would have seen at my school, and I'm a past student of that school. So I
Thumbs
think
up.
it has to do with personality also. Some persons want to stay in the back, but while you stay in the back, it's important that if you have a good contact teacher, that contact teacher can teach and help to educate their members within their schools. So the contact teachers, I believe, they have a big role to play, and I think I've done well with that. My teachers know that they can come to me to get answers. So when people speak in the negative about JTA and its involvement and what they can do for you, because on the question that you asked, it's a pity that the candidates did not mention that if we use the service there's a doctor that provides help with mental issues. There's also, I tell teachers, if you can't get your money from the ministry, you need to speak with your contact teacher, you pay your dues. And when that cannot come through for you, there's a regional officer to help you. JTA will work for you if you speak to the contact teacher. And if you can't get to the contact teacher, get to your regional officer. You're paying your money and we deserve the best. Thank you. So I can't speak to that line. I'm speaking the positive all the time about JT and what I know they will do for us.
Yes, it's very good on your part to be positive, and you have shown your work, But with that said, we'll come into another segment, the last segment of the show, that will ask the individual panelists just to choose any one of their opponent to ask a question. And with these people, I'm hoping that we get respectable questions and also respectable answers. We all understand. And with that, remember, it's very short, but this is the last segment and we want to have it. We're still looking out for the persons sending out their messages. We will read them, not messages all the time, but questions that will be posed to any candidate as we go along. So at this time, Mrs. Richard
Sir,
Spirit, I will ask you again to coming to you, Miss, to carry through this segment where we organize from one
can
to
I
seven
can I
as it
say
relates to that. Go
just
ahead, Miss.
can I say something quickly?
Yes.
That controversial question, read the classroom teacher. The question spoke to right now. The question did not speak to in the future. And so we have to be careful that we are not saying that we are not ambitious and we don't want to lead. But the question speaks to right now and here. And so right now and here, we believe that right now and here, this is where we belong. And in order to represent the best interest of the teachers, so it has nothing to do with not wanting to be at the top or not having the brightest minds and wanting to excel and to be better than we are. That's, because the question spoke to right now and here.
But to be fair, yes, I understand that. And to be fair, I don't think it was so much looking to the future. People may mention yes, but as the host, I'm telling you, I am a bit alarmed. Yes, knowing that We all stand, and all of us, I can almost sure that every single one of you right now on this panel aspiring to be principals. That's one of the key things. If we are teachers and we know that very few, if there are many, promotion in schools, there are many. There are just quite a few. There can be one principal, few vice principals, senior teachers, but what else, people? And of course, not that school, but you move on to apply your trade. And this is why we study. This is why we improve ourselves to get to the top.
You
Not
know,
because we want to boast or show off, but that is, of course, is our intention. Every politician at some point want to be the prime minister. They won't talk because it is politics, but that's how it is. And I'm sure that we are no different in our own rights. So,
All right.
Mrs. Spirit, are you ready?
Sure. Yes,
Are
I
you ready,
am.
candidates, for your questions? And
You know,
remember, no, it's just one question to one candidate. All right? Thank you.
great. Great. And you know what order I'll take it in? The order as it appears on my screen. I take it that it's the same order on the audience screen. So that would be Mr. Ethan McNamee, who will pose the first question to the candidate of his choice.
Go ahead, sir.
My
People in the
question,
chat, listen out, listen out.
my
Only
question
you
goes
can.
to
Yes.
my question goes to Mr. Malava. I heard him to say that he will assemble the best team to be on the salaries and negotiation team. I want to find out from him if he's not aware of the articles of association that shows us how that team is elected, and if it is that he's going to change the article to accommodate his thought or his doing. Thank you.
Yes, I'm aware of the articles of association and how the committees are constituted. The JTA president, however, has a certain level of latitude in terms of how it is that, for example, the chairman, who selects the chairman of that committee, that is a key person, for example, and as such, the individual that is selected must be an individual that, in our estimation, in my estimation, has the genuine interest of the teachers at heart. It must be an individual that is not loyal to me, but is loyal to the teachers and loyal to the cause. Um, the general council also has the latitude in terms of how it is that other members are selected. Um, Based on that, the general council will certainly treat with those matters. But in terms of the chairman, then certainly that's a prerogative of the president. And as such, I will utilize that to select the best individual. And in addition to that, the general council can seek to coalesce around that individual. Thank you much.
Thank you very much. Mr. McNamee, I'll give you 30 seconds to say if you're in agreement. Just 30 seconds to rebut. I'm going to put on my stopwatch and you may go.
The argument, is that you will assemble the team. We all know that the chairman is elected, the chairman is selected, but we have to remember that the other interest groups are also involved. And
Very much aware of that.
persons from general council are elected. So there is selected and there is elected. Those are two terms that we have to take into consideration.
Very much aware of that. Very much
Thank
aware.
you very much.
Thank you very much. Time. Thank you, Mr. McNamee. I'll now move on to Mr. Jermaine and Williams. You may
Whoa.
choose a candidate.
Oh, I feel set up. Oh my God. All right. Mr. Saunders. The first time I met you is when you ran, because I think this is your second time running. I just want to find out, and I know we're aware that any member of the association can run for a position within the JTA. I just want to find out what is your affiliation with JTA and what would have been the driving force for you offering yourself for presidency?
Okay. Well, I'm a member of the JTA for 29 years, from September 1995 until now. I serve in the East Kingston District Association. I serve as sports. I serve as sports coordinator. I serve on the credential committee. I serve as on membership, and I'm now the Kingston sports coordinator. So I'm on the national committee. But what drive me, maybe I'm not a member of General Council, Senex or anything, but what drive me to represent the teachers for many years, I've been watching the leadership in the JTA. It needs improvement. It needs improvement. And I don't think the classroom teachers have been represented as how they are. They are too, because read the last compensation package. It was very unfair for the classroom teachers. Very unfair. We don't benefit none at all from that compensation package. And I think that we need true representation. A teacher who feels it, knows it, and know what the teachers want. And that's why I put up myself. I don't have to be a member of SEDEX or General Council. I know that I am a leader,
Time.
born a leader, and I will die a leader.
Okay, great. Thank you for your response. Mr. Williams, 30
Yeah,
seconds if you have to.
yeah. I'm good. I'm good. You can
Okay,
proceed.
great. Thank you very much. Okay, right back at you, Mr. Saunders. You're next with your question to the candidate of your choice that you want to pose that question to.
Okay, Miss Dorian, um, I know you're very passionate about finance, but we have a finance minister that is very bright and he knows figures. And in the last compensation package that we had, remember that even we had wrong calculation, because what we were told that we were going to get, it was nothing like that. What improved? Tell me what you are going to do to see that the teacher's salary calculated properly. What are some of your strategies you're going to do?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Saunders, for that question. First of all, the formula. We are still not aware of the formula that was used to calculate the salaries of all educators. And so, as the president-elect, when I am sitting at the table, one of the first things that I will ensure is that I know the formula, I understand the formula, and hence I can make sure that all the other educators would be aware of the formula. The second thing is, I know the Minister of Finance is very bright and he knows finance. I am also bright and I'm aware of finance. I'm aware of what the financial statements represent. And so when calculations need to be done, I am not in the dark. I will not be somebody who's told that this is the case. For the last compensation review, the calculations that were done were not correct. I agitated on several platforms, conferences, etc., that those calculations were not correct, because we cannot make calculations based on net pay. They must be made on gross pay. I stood on the platform and I worked it out and I showed that they were in fact incorrect. Had I been listened to, then our teachers would not be worse off now, because the hierarchy, the persons who were there, as the president-elect and as the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, it is my duty to make sure that whatever is placed on the table makes sense, and that the teachers are paid based on their worth and value, not something that is hidden a hide and seek, and you cannot figure it out. So you must have somebody who knows how to calculate the numbers and who understands the process of inflation, the buying power, and what really worth and value is
All right.
all about.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Alan Rainford. Mr. Saunders, 30 seconds if you desire.
Okay, Mrs. Dorian Renford, I hear you. And when I'm elected, you know, you will be a part of my financial committee. All right?
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, Mr. Malava, you may go with your question.
It's been through. It's directed at Germain. In your manifesto, Germain, you said to negotiate with the government to have teachers' remuneration elevated to 80% of market, according to the Ernst and Young report. Did the Ernst and Young report say this, and if so, where?
No, not in that way. The intention of the intention at the time when the JTA would have negotiated is for us to be brought to 80% parity of the private sector. But the reality is that the report would have indicated that we're not at 80%. So it didn't say we're at 60 something percent thereabout.
My time to rebut.
Sure.
That's not what it said. It says 80% of market according to Ernst and Young. And I'm going to tell you now, Ernst and Young valued the trained graduates at 3.5. As of April 2024, teachers will be at 3 million. The trained graduates will be at $3 million. If you go out there with that argument, the government is going to counter to say we are at 85.7%. Teachers are at 85.7% of market. Given where the teachers are, which should have been on band 6, even if you accept the bottom number of 4.2, that would be 71% of market. So therefore, all you would be asking for
so that's all long for
is 9%, 3% over a year. Do not go out there with that line of argument.
So which sector group was used though? Which sector group was used? That's the challenge.
I don't understand.
I will leave that little debate at the end when you have your closing remarks. You could
All right.
highlight those things.
Okay, thank you. All right. We'll now go to Mrs. Alan Rainford.
All right. So my question will go to, I'm not seeing Miss Green. She has left. Okay.
She's here.
Or internet. Oh, you're seeing her?
Yes.
No, I'm not seeing her, but she's there. She's there.
She's there. Okay.
Miss, all right.
Make sure she's hearing. Miss Green?
Are you hearing Miss Green?
She's using a second device, it seems.
Yeah, I was trying to see which one.
Oh.
She had 2 devices, but I just have one up, so I'm just.
Miss Green? She's gone.
All right.
Hold on. I'm trying to... All right, do you have a question for someone else? Another candidate?
All right, so let me throw this question to another candidate. So let me throw it out to Eton. All right. And so my question to you is, when you, as an aspirant in the JTA President-elect elections for 2024 to 2025, how will you make a difference to the group that has been really affected, negatively affected in the last compensation review? And that would have been the teachers who are the postgraduate trained teachers, where they are worse off now than they were before.
While I do not have the figures present with me, I do not believe that anybody is receiving lesser salary than they would have been receiving before the compensation review. Mark you, we have not gotten what we wanted or what we should have gotten, but nobody, I think, is receiving lesser salary, except there are issues with the calculations which can be sorted. My as I said before, the trained graduates used to receive increment. I believe now that it is opportune time for a trained graduate scale, master's degree scale to be created. And that master's degree scale will now take care of the persons who have their master's degree. And so there'll be a difference, marked difference between the entry level, which of course is a bachelor's degree in the new paradigm, and the master's degree. So that is how I will approach it, to get the master's degree persons getting what it is that they deserve. Also, the bachelor's degree, the persons who enter the profession with a bachelor's degree, we have to ensure that we get back our years of experience, because experience does count in any jurisdiction. And so we have to ensure that persons who have their years of experience are remunerated as such, because it would make no sense really to be involved in the teaching profession over the years and the entry level persons just coming in and getting the same amount as you are getting. And of course, ideas bounce all over the place coming from different avenues. I'll be very inclusive, because my ideas are not finite. They are not what would call rules. And so therefore, what we take are the ideas from across the board. I'll be very much so inclusive to get ideas from every different sector as it relates to going forward with our salaries.
All right, Mr. McNamee, very good. Do you have,
Can I
you have
rebut?
30 seconds?
Can I rebut?
Yes, you have
Please?
30 seconds.
All
quickly.
right. So I do disagree with what you have just said, Sir McNamee, because that sector, the graduate trained teachers, along with the teachers who have years of seniority, are worse off now than they were before. And let me explain what I mean by that. Now, there's something called inflation.
Yes, the rebuttal has to be short. Yeah.
And based on inflation, what you get, so even if you get $5,000 more on your pay now, the fact is, when you look at cost of living and when you look at inflation, that would have eaten out your spending power. And so all those things that were removed would have made that sector worse off now than they were before.
Time. All right. Thank you very much for that. We'll now move quickly to Mrs. To Suzette.
Wow, I was kicked off for so long that I am not sure what questions were asked. And
this segment is for you to ask a candidate of choice the question you have for he or she.
Oh. Mr. Mark, I don't know if you have been getting many questions, but I hope mine would not be one too many, because I was really out. But this question, how would you, if you should be elected as president-elect for 2024-2025, what would you do to ensure that there is equity as it relates to members being actively involved in the Jamaica Teachers Association all the way up to General Council?
Well, I think that question is aligned to. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you quite clear.
I think that question is very much aligned to the first question that the host had asked. The truth of the matter is there is a general sense of apathy amongst our members, primarily due to the fact that in the last round of negotiations, things did not go as well as it ought to. There are points of my manifesto, for example, that speaks to a couple of things in terms of getting members more involved. I spoke to it earlier in terms of the Constitution, for example, and ensuring that in much the same way that we went around the island, our leadership went around the island to discuss the salaries and compensation. That is what ought to also happen, going around the island to discuss what is it that we want in terms of to be sent up to the ministry. On top of that, in addition to that, you also want to ensure that only special delegates conference, a special delegates conference can ratify anything that goes up to the to the ministry. And in addition to that, only a special conference, not only a special conference can accept any offer. Not that it can be referred to general council, as has been the case in the past, because 135 people who sits on general council should never decide the fate of 24,000 teachers.
135. Okay. Miss Suzette, you have 30 seconds to rebut. Agree, disagree.
Just to say to all of us, whomever the membership decides to put in, because we are all able to carry out our mandate and what they want, is that let it not be something that happens to some councillors the other day when they were to be sworn in, they were barred because of their belief system or their ideology. But let JTA be, as it says, non-participant, non-political. There are 3 of them. Let it really be, let this association be one that demonstrates equity right across the board. And that is a mandate for all of us who are offering ourselves to be the voice of the people.
Thank you very much. Okay, Miss Green, are you hearing us? Miss Green, are you hearing us? I think because Miss Green is using a cell phone, it's a delayed transmission.
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Great. Can you please pose your question? Ask the question that you want to ask to the candidate you selected.
The candidate that I've selected is Mr. McNamee. I hope he has not been asked too many questions because I was off for quite some time.
Don't you worry about that. He's able and strong.
Okay, no problem. Mr. McNamee, if you were elected as the president-elect, what new would you bring to the table? As a president-elect.
As the president-elect or as the president? Because there are 2. Remember, the first year is president-elect and the second year is president. But other than that, though, what I bring you to the table.
Are you hearing us?
I'm hearing you now, yes.
What I bring to the table is.
I think because my screen is.
I'm hearing background.
You know. Great. Can you question that you want to ask to the candidate? One more, Miss Green. Right. Or turn down the instrument doing. Okay. Thank you. Continue, Mr. McNamee.
Yes. So what I bring to the table.
Any question? Because I was off for.
So what I would bring to the table that is new is well-researched ideas going to the Ministry of Finance. And what I'd also want to bring to the table that is really new are some ideas as to how it is that we go forward in our negotiations. And I mentioned before that we could establish what is called a strike fund. And that fund would hold out teachers if it is that we reach to that level. Also, what we do is to ensure that the team that is representing us at the Ministry of Finance is a well-trained team. We get the requisite training for those teams. We do have a unit at the University of the West Indies that we could call upon. JTA has the money that could house those persons at least for 2 days to ensure that those persons are trained in the 21st century negotiation standards, so that when we to ensure that the team gels, so that we do not have any segregation, any division when it comes to saying what it is that we are going to say, because we all know that it is salaries and conditions of service chairman that leads such. So once the team is well gelled and knowledgeable about what it is that we are going to do, and proactive, in fact, proactive in having our second strategy ready before we get, once we get the first response, we have our second strategy ready, well researched, well put together, so that we can manipulate the waters that are really ahead of us.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McNamee. Oh, she's not here to get her 30 seconds. All right. So, okay, Miss Green, you have, are you hearing us still? You have
I am
30
hearing you, yes.
You have 30 seconds. Did you hear all of what Mr. McNamee said? Or you went
No,
out? Okay.
I went out. Sorry about that. I'm using both of my phone and my laptop. But because I'm at this gospel concert, it is really hard because it's my school that has put on this function. I'm so sorry about this.
All right. He answered the questions. The pity you could not hear his response. So that would have allowed you to ask to do a 30 seconds rebuttal, but I think that's going to be hard. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for the responses. I hope that our listeners, our colleagues are getting some information and getting to know all of you better. Saudichress, there's one
Yes.
question that I would like to bring up. I'm not sure. And then we can probably go into closing.
Go ahead.
I believe, and I think I want to pose it to all of them. And I'm going to do a timer for a minute. I'm going to do it and stop them. The question is, and Raphael Beckford asked a question, and I think that's when Mr. Saunders was speaking.
Yes.
But the second question he asks is, do you think you can change the status quo of the JTA? Is there one? And do you think you can change that status quo? Because so many persons out there are concerned about the status quo of the JTA. I will go, Miss Green, since as you're on, let us hear from you. Next thing you go again. So I go with you, Miss Green, first.
Changing the status quo of the JTA is going to be a big task, but it is one that can be done. We all have to work as members in the association to help to work together to see how best we can change the status quo. There are persons outside who are looking in on us. There are new teachers who would want to join the association, but they are a bit apprehensive. But it depends on our plans, our activities that we plan, what we do. Continue to educate the teachers of Jamaica. Continue to do the things that are good, that will help to highlight the association itself. Let people know about us. Plan programs, plan activities,
All
so
right.
that more teachers can know about us and we can
Okay.
change the status quo.
Thank you very much. I'll go with Mrs. Baker Toller.
The world was not built in a day. Martin Luther King had a dream that little black boys and little white boys will one day sit in the same class and eat around the table. It took many years, but now it's a reality. So the status quo, which the membership are viewing as negative, it will and can be changed over time if the member itself become active in the work of the association. So even here this election, where we have just a minority turning up to the polls, you want change? Come June, when it's election day, and come and vote for Suzette Baker Tuller, a woman of integrity, honesty, and equity. The change begins here, and the change begins with me.
Thank you very much. I'll go to Mrs. Allen Rainford.
Can the status quo of the JTA be changed? Sure, definitely. but it only comes by empowering or from empowering the members of the association. As members of the association, they are owners of the association. And therefore, it means that being owners of the association, you are in charge. But you cannot be in charge if you are not empowered. You cannot be in charge if you are not engaged in what is going on. You cannot be in charge if there's not collaboration. And therefore, engagement, collaboration, transparency, meaning that feedback is provided both ways, and the contact teacher becomes empowered. The DAs, the district associations become empowered. There is
Time.
communication at the parish level. All of these
Time.
things will ensure that the status quo is changed.
Time. Thank you very much. Mr. Malava?
The short answer is yes, and it begins with leadership. I will be the first to tell you, because I have sat at General Council, I have observed, and yes, there is a status quo, and the status quo does not act in the best interest of the teachers. Neither does it represent the best that the teachers have to offer. There is a leadership component that is very important, but we also need to give back the JTA to give the JTA back to its members, give it back to teachers. Yeah, they need to be involved. They need to be a part of the process, and they need to also help to silence that status quo. Let it be known that I stand in open rebellion against the status quo.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'll go with Mr. Saunders.
Okay, I'm campaigning, and when you go to the schools, teachers don't want to hear nothing about JTA. Teachers even will walk out of meetings when you have to say, okay, just listen what I have. No, I will do a survey, send it around to all the schools in Jamaica. Let teachers tell me what they want the JTA to do. Because remember, General Council and Phoenix alone cannot decide for 24,000 members. No. So I will do a survey that the teachers tell me what improvement they want to see in the JTA.
Thank you very much for that. I'll go to Mr. Williams. Jermaine?
Yes, good evening again. So there is a status quo within the association, and it comes in different patches. I think what we want is to bring all the sectors together. Everything is a process, and as you know, the president would have served for 3 years, PE, president, immediate past president. How can this be achieved? Education is important. Holding all the members accountable, the ones who are elected and also the paid officers within the association. Membership involvement is also extremely important. The hosting of district association meetings, parish association meetings are supposed to be relevant to the members, that will encourage greater participation. And then the more participation we get from the members, then they are able now to better hold persons accountable. And also, I also believe that well-thinking persons should also put themselves forward for leadership, because they also have the power to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll now go to Mr. Malaba. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Matnami.
Thank you. Of course, we are aware, and everybody knows that McNamee is not one of the well-liked ones on the conference floor or even in General Council, because I speak against those things. I always say that members own the organization, and I've heard it repeated in several spheres, you know. So I am not afraid to challenge the status quo that is really present within the JTA. One of the strong way is to ensure that our members are educated. Membership education is of utmost importance. We must ensure that our members know their rights and their responsibilities. One such way to do that, especially at General Council, is to ensure that we have a training in general council that does not involve the officers of the JTA. We get outside individuals who are strong in unionism to educate our members in that regard. And our members being educated will of course learn the processes, learn how it is that they operate, because we are not a top-down organization, we're a grassroots up organization, but we have been led to believe that we are a top-down. We are a grassroots up organization. The members speak, the members own, the members should have the opportunity to operate, because we employ people to work for us. We don't work for them. We employ them to run the ship. We can tell them that the ship is not being steered properly and we need the ship to go into this direction, to that direction. We have the power to hire. We have the power to fire. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. McNamee. Well, it's the end of my segment for now, and I'll hand over right back to my host, Saudichress.
Very interesting point to end there, Mr. McNamee. We have the power to hire and the power to fire. I mean, these are all words, and to be honest with you, I'm not hitting out on you, sir. It's a very good one, but we have heard this time and time again, and so say, so done in the opposite. Yes, but has been a long-standing issue, and if you watch some of the comments or if you are reading them, you realize that persons, and based on what happened in the negotiation, so to speak, but the restructure of our salaries last year, the members are lacking confidence in our leaders. Saying that to say, and I've heard Miss Baker Tolo speak two times as it relates to comparing the elections, and I guess it's the local government elections in terms of turnout, and that's what it has to be with us. But I'm going to use this question to close the show, and I want you to give me a yes or no, and also just if you want to explain, just a short. And I said a yes or no, so no more than 30 seconds, people. And if you go over that 30 seconds, I definitely will have to cut you off. So the closing people, and I want to say thanks again to the YouTube fans. Continue to stay the course with us tonight because it's getting even more interesting. But I will say to you, come next week and the weeks leading up to the election, we promise that we'll have you shows coming up. These persons want to come back where they can palaver, where they can show their manifesto in full. Nothing summarized. Maybe we'll get a one-on-one or a two-by-two debate. Who knows? But we'll have the conversation. So in closing, a few elections ago, if my memory serves me right, and Mrs. Richards Beard, please correct me if I'm wrong, and also within the scope where we have the restructuring, electronic voting was used, or were used in more than one occasion. Is it the best way right now? Electronic voting, yes or no? Do you have the confidence in electronic voting? Yes or no? And just 30 seconds if you want to say something additionally. 30 seconds. Anyone can start. So,
Okay.
go ahead, sir.
Electronic voting is a no. It doesn't make any sense. The Great America, they are using ballots, and they're full of technology than us. The electronic, I don't like that system, and we have our teachers. The whole set of teachers are not so technology inclined, and they don't know how to use to vote and such. Teachers in the rural areas who don't have internet that is strong enough when they go into the deep rurals, no internet, and it's
Time.
unknown.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Next.
you.
Mrs. Rain.
For me, it's a no. There's a matter of transparency. We saw when the votes came in that it was an acceptance of what the government was offering, and we had no way of knowing who voted or who did not vote. And so what you do when you do it that way, there's no transparency, there's no accountability, and you are disenfranchising a lot of teachers who may not be techno savvy and who may have internet issues, and they will not be able to log on. So for me, it's a definite no.
Thank you. Next.
All right. So my response is not going to be a yes or a no.
Yes,
My
sir. I need a yes or a
response,
no. I need a yes or a no, and you give me
it
your
will come in
explanation.
my defense. I am going to say mixed modality once the electronic system that is set up.
Full answer. Full answer. I don't want you to take this another side. Electronic voting, yes or no, and give me your explanation.
But you also could have unsure. You could
No,
also
I don't want an unsure one.
one.
Not tonight.
The survey, what, Jermaine?
You're kind of placing me in a box though, based on my response.
But, sir, listen. It's either I don't want to be pressuring, but based on where we start, just a yes or no, and give me your response to that.
All right. Yes, if the proper systems are in place that provides transparency, but there should also be an avenue for those who are unable to access that system.
All right,
Why were
great.
you hiding away from that?
Yeah. All right. Next. Mr. Manami, no position. Mr. Malaba. Suzette, no Georgia.
The good old days of when membership is the one who runs the election, with presiding officers being the members. That those days need to come back, and in such a way that you do not have paid officers being in charge of it, but the members run it. Good old days.
All right, thank you. Next. Mr. Manami, you ready
Yes.
for us?
Yes, I do not. I am not averse to technology because it is the way to go. But are we ready at this point in our in JTA to go that route? I don't think that we have the technology that has been tried, tested, and proven to give confidence to us to say that this system really works and that there is absolutely no drawback to it. So I am really not averse to technology, but I don't think we are there yet.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Malava? Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable with it because the data is showing that since we have implemented electronic voting, there has been a significant decline in voter participation. And in light of that, I think the matter needs to be revisited to determine if this is the way to go or to make an about face.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go, Miss Green, Miss Georgia Green. Miss Green, are you hearing me?
You're not watching the show at all.
Not even about what she's not hearing. I think she's not hearing because of the technology issues that she's having. All right, since she's not hearing us, I think we'll have to move on. She may chip in by the time the signal gets to her phone.
Here, man, listening.
Right. Your response as it relates to electronic voting, yes or no, and you can give a brief 30 seconds response to it to explain the reason.
My response as this relates to
Electronic voting. JTA
my
electronic.
response as it relates to electronic voting. I don't believe in it.
Okay.
Yes, hello. I am
Yes,
hearing you.
We're hearing you. Go ahead.
My response is that I don't believe in it. It is not foolproof. And I don't believe that we should go that route. I believe that we should use the ballots and the boxes. Let our contact teachers work in the schools and let them count the votes. Let the
Oh,
votes be counted and let them be after at the end of the session, the voting session, everything goes to Kingston and they go into Kingston and count the ballots.
all
I
right.
don't
Thank
believe
you.
in electronic voting. Not at all. Not this time
Thank
around.
you. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you. Okay, back to you, Saudichress.
I tell you, people, that's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. This electronic voting, and I have mixed views as it relates to that. But right, I won't get into it in tonight's show, my views. But I really heard Mr. McNamee, the way he spoke about is JTA really ready for electronic voting? And sir, how I heard you brag of the JTA and the standards and where JTA is right now. I thought they would have ready based on that. But that's how it is. And I hope that people, whether it's electronic, I'm not sure you would have the say really. You can vote against it. And I'm not sure we are not in a COVID era now. So I think that was one of the reasons why electronic voting was used. All right. So people, I want to ask, and as a matter of fact, I'm proposing to Jamaica, to the wider world, YouTube fans, that we have a few shows leading up to the election in June, where you at any time can reach out to myself or the producer, where we can have a night show individually, or if you want us to put on a sort of debating where you can not necessarily debate against each other, but for you to really put across your ideas, right through. Nothing summarized, nothing too tight, but you'll get the opportunity to speak your minds and, of course, to show us what you're really made out of. So that's what we're looking at. Before I said close the show, I really want to big up everybody else in the YouTube land. Thank you very much. But before you leave, ensure that you hit the like button. I suspect as well that there are a number of persons still watching and have not yet subscribed. If it is so, please do so. Help us to let the Saudichress channel grow. Because going up to JTA election in June, am I right, Rhea? I
You
hope
are
that
correct.
I,
You
I,
are.
I between myself and Rhea will apply for the rights, for the television right to broadcast the election and to give that
So,
sort of thing, right? Nothing. Rhea, what you mean, Troy? You're not big up for that. What you say? Mr. Williams, I give me a thumbs up for that. Of course. What you say, Mr. Sanders? Mrs. Rainford? Of course, we need to. So this is where we're at. And before you go, people, when I close the show, I'm going to ask you, do not leave the studio. We'll have a discussion outside of the live preview. So people, welcome, and I want to say thank you very much, my panelists. It was a very mouth-watering discussion. I heard information that I was looking for, to be honest with you, and I'm not sure right now. I don't have a personal view on which member, which team I should go with. Later on, though, they will have to show me a little bit more for me to choose. I hope right now you'll have gotten over the past 3 hours enough to say I go with particular team. So I want to say thank you very much again, Mr. Ethan McNamee. I want to say thank you for joining Mr. Jermaine Williams. Mr. Jermaine N. Williams, let me not leave out that N. Must have been a very, very interesting middle name why you keep the N. O'Keefe Sanders, the man who have run already, as he mentioned. Very good points and very articulate personnel from all of you. Mark Malava, is also one of those push. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to have all of you again at some point. I want to say Mrs. Doreen Rainford, the wonderful presenter, the lady with the finance brain that Mr. O'Keefe want to work with. Thank you again for joining. You are very good tonight. Mrs. Suzette Baker Tolo, I'm telling you, lady with the strength coming out. Miss Georgia Green, even though she was in and out, I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your time and, of course, your views. She was very instrumental. She's still at school, I believe, with a gospel concert. So that's why she was in and out, ladies and gentlemen. What else can these people say to you? What can I say? But we have 7 confident um, persons going up for the JTA elect, president elect for the 24-25 year. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you.
for sharing. Again, people at the panel, do not leave. All right. This is where we say goodbye and good night. Until then, we wish you a restful night.